Ali here at mindwavemeditation.com, and today we're going to talk about you and the power of your mind. Whoa. So whatever you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. As Henry Ford once said, it is so true. Whatever you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. So today in this video, we're going to learn to look at these two paths, what you think you can and what you think you can't, love, fear, and decide to really take power back over our mind, to control our mind rather than the mind controlling us. And once we master or decide to begin the journey of mastering this simple principle of life, simple but very complex principle of life, then our life will change and we will manifest love, health, wealth and success and all the rest. I'll see you on the other side. Do you remember when you were younger and you were in bed at night, you were convinced that there was a monster or a ghost or an entity in your room, and your body started reacting? You got a little bit scared, got a little bit anxious. You know, it all kind of went like this. Do you remember that? Does that still happen? I hope it doesn't. I deeply apologize if I've triggered you in any way, but I remember that happening to me. I was convinced. Later on, I was absolutely convinced I lived in a haunted house. That's another story. But the point here is the power over the mind. We can convince ourselves that a creaky door or something, and it can just completely turn into this whole story. And then once we got that going, there's no way back. We're absolutely convinced, and we go down the spiral of doom, and we get scared, we get worried, we get anxious, and even sometimes worse, it can create disease. And essentially what I'm saying here is this spiral of doom caused by our negative or wrong thinking. Don't know why I did that. Wrong thinking, man. It's really detrimental to our health, our success in life. So I just wanted to talk about it real quick and just remind you of this slippery slope that can happen from time to time. So I hear it sometimes with students. Oh, I can't do that. No, I don't have the knowledge for it. No, I'm this, I am this, I have that, I can't. It's not, it's endless. I hear it constantly. See, that would be deemed negative self-talk. I hear it constantly, but I'm using this as an example, so that's exempt. This happens from time to time. We get into this mindset where we believe that we can't do this or that, or it's not for us, it's only for other people. And this is just a mental program that we're running. And there's so many examples where people have done exactly the opposite and created amazing successes in life and achieved amazing things because they believed that they had already achieved what they're wanting to achieve. So before they even try to attempt the thing that they're about to do, win a medal, create a business, go after the one that they love, whatever, they believed it. And this is where a lot of us fail. We don't dare to believe because it's just what will people think if I mess it up, or people think I'm like I can't sing, like people will laugh at me and all that stuff. I'm telling you, all I know from my experience is that once you decide not to care what anybody thinks, as long as you're not hurting anyone, then you find freedom. You find freedom. And I've been blessed with this bit of freedom for a long time because for some reason my wiring was just there from the get-go. I just never really cared what other people thought. And I don't know why that is, but it's been a blessing. So I've really dived into that and really kind of gone further and really not cared what other people think. If I cared what people think, I wouldn't be sat here with a selfie stick and talking to a camera, wholeheartedly expressing my love and beliefs and views on the world to help people that I've not yet met, with the intention of, you know, them bettering themselves and having a better life. If I really cared what these passers-by thought when they look at me doing this, you know, there would be no videos. I can't do that. So this happens. People get locked up in the prison of their mind about what they can and they can't do. So let's talk about it. So there's a great teacher called Bob Proctor. You might have heard of him. He's a Canadian elderly gentleman. He is one of the absolute legends in the self-development field. And he once told a great story. It was back in the 70s in the paper. There was this guy who was working on the railroad. So it shows you how long ago it was. Working on the railroad. And he opened up a refrigerator cart for whatever reason, went inside and couldn't get back out. I don't know if it was his cart. Anyway, he's in there, he can't get out. That's what's happening in the story. And he's banging on the door, no one hears him, and eventually he realizes that he's gonna freeze to death. And he starts writing on the wall, "It's cold." The wall, the side of the cart. And a little bit later, further down, it's really cold. And further down he realizes, you know, these are going to be his last words, and he writes, "These will most probably be my last words." And it turns out that those were his last words. And as sad as it is, I hope that man didn't die in vain, because if you learn anything from this story, then it wasn't all for nothing. So the next day they come down to the railroad and they find the car, open the door, and they find the man dead, and they see what he's written on there. And the fascinating thing about the story is not that the man locked himself in and died. The refrigerator had been faulty for a few days, and in fact the temperature hadn't actually dropped lower than 49 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 9 degrees Celsius. I just did a quick edit there, I don't know if you saw that. So at the end of the day, this guy could have survived. He programmed himself to believe that his surroundings were telling him he was going to die, and so he died. And if he'd been in tune with what was actually happening around him, meaning the temperature, actually feeling how cold it was, or how not so cold it was, then he would have survived. He was convinced, like the child in the room, that the monster was there and it was over. The mind has gone at this point, and then the body reacts accordingly, because the mind affects the body. So if we tell ourselves that we're in a state of fear, the body will start to act as though we're in a state of fear. And then the shortness of breath, you know these ones. But we can do the opposite. We can do the opposite. What we have to remember is, as we go through life, it really is a choice of love and fear in any moment. And they are from the same channel, essentially. The doubt that you hold in your imagination becomes a picture which will turn into your physical results. This is so powerful. So today, start practicing the best case scenario in any moment that you're in, because you never know. Even if you're convinced that it's all doom and gloom, it's all fear from here on out, and you are, in a terrible, horrendous situation, and it's all completely bleak, then practice the best version in that moment more than ever. So it's not all doom and gloom. On the flip side of that, we've got stories like Roger Bannister, who was 25 in 1956. Oh, I got it wrong. It was 1954. Nobody had done the 4-minute mile. It was said to be impossible. We didn't have the right muscles, whatever. The science said no. Roger said, no, I'm going to do this. And he did it. And the funny thing is, I think it was a month after he'd done it, people started doing it left, right, and center. But for forever before then, nobody had done it. It was impossible. As soon as Roger Bannister did it, then I think apparently 14,000 people have done it since, something like that anyway. A lot. A lot of people have done what was once deemed impossible. So, you know, there's countless stories like this, and you've got stories like this in your own life. Where have you looked at something and gone, that's just impossible, I can't do that, that's not for me, that's only for other people? Start to look at your life, start to look at your past, and don't dwell on this, but look at it for inspiration. Where have you thought, that's just impossible, I can't do that, that's for somebody else? Start to look at your life in the now and in the near future, and see where these things are popping up, these, oh no, that's not for me. See if you can add a sprinkle of, maybe I could do that. So there's 4 words that crop up constantly when I'm teaching students and clients, and that's love, health, wealth, and success. And basically everybody wants one or a combination of those amazing words. What we can choose to do is decide to devote our lives to love, health, wealth, and success. I'm going to talk a bit more about that on the next video. But I'm just going to leave you with one quick story. I had a student, and she was in a real bad way. One of the worst cases I've ever dealt with, and I had to talk her off jumping off a big bridge, and it was just so sad. It was just, you know, nobody in her life knew. She was living a very normal life in a corporate world, and you know, she'd just given up because she saw no way out, and she was being triggered by this and that. And you know, I just had to do what I do and just give relentless love and enthusiasm and motivation and compassion and sympathy and tips and tools, and just repeat love, compassion, sympathy. And I told her that I believed in her, and she didn't believe in herself. So I said to her, all I need you to do is just believe that I believe in you. And that's just the starting point. And if you can believe that I believe in you, then maybe soon you'll believe in yourself. And we worked together for a while, and she got a bit better, and she made progress, and everything seemed to be going okay. And I didn't hear from her for a while. We stayed in touch, kind of. I wanted to leave her and allow her to grow, and I didn't want to trigger her. And she texted me recently and told me that she was going to quit her job, and she was going to build her own business, and she's doing loads better, and she wanted to write children's books. And it just proves that no matter how bleak your life may be at times or constantly, that sometimes all it takes is just for one person to believe in you. And if you don't have anyone around you that believes in you or talks to you like this, then keep watching these videos, or better still, give me a buzz and we can have a session. And just remember that we're not a physical body, we are light. We are light. You know, scientifically, we are light. And all it takes is imagination, it takes belief, and it takes commitment. And if that sounds overwhelming, then we just chunk it down. We just break it down into doing small steps every day. Maybe day 1 is smile often as possible throughout the day. Smile as often as possible throughout the afternoon. Smile as often as possible throughout the evening. That is an amazing thing to do. Do it day in, day out. Let me know how you're doing. Oh, dogs. Oh. That's all right. So stay positive, stay focused on the task at hand, whether it's love, health, wealth, or success, whatever you're working on first or altogether. Stay focused, keep going strong. Leave me a comment down below and we can get chatting. Get in touch and we'll chat more, and have the most wonderful day or evening. Do even better tomorrow than you did today. Just smile harder if that's all you can do. Just keep smiling, keep winning at life, and I'll see you on the other side.